Hey guys, so over the summer, me and my family decided to get a little puppy. And for this puppy, we needed a dog bowl stand. So without further ado, let's get to it. So I'm choosing a nice bit of maple for the legs of the stand. I'm going to use my shape of origin to cut them out. And I did the design on Adobe Illustrator. Me and the kids didn't want the dog bowl stand to be too boring and have a fun element to it. You'll soon see what we came up with. Okay, so I'm going to take the piece of maple over to my planer and just thickness it to size. Once I've done that, I'm going to take it over to the bandsaw and book match it. But before we do that, I need to find its half, and this is where I use this odd yellow contraption from Microjig. It's called the Fit Finder, and it easily and effectively finds the half value of the stock that you put in. It's pretty straightforward and really easy to use. So transferring that over to the bandsaw, I line it up and start cutting. And there you have it, one book matched piece of maple. Okay, so now time to get the shape of origin out and begin planning the cut. Here you can see I'm just loading up the design into the shape of origin. Have you guessed what the legs are going to be yet? And thanks to the internet, they had the wrong idea and they sure let me know about it. I would say leave the wrong answers in the comments, but I don't want to get banned from YouTube. Now just using my white side flush trim to clean up the edges, and I'll also give them a round over. For the time being, the legs are done. Now it's time to work on the top. I'm going to use a live edge walnut slab for this, as I want it to have an organic feel to it. I'm not going to use the whole thing, just going to mark off where I'm going to cut it. Just getting a feel for where the placement of the feet are going to be. Everything appears to be good, so now I'll take it over to the miter saw and cut it. I didn't want to fully cut it as I was worried about the slab dropping and getting kickback from the miter saw blade, so I just left a thin little slither of wood and then used a pull saw to finish the job. Once that's cut, I'm going to take it over to my drum sander and start flattening it. As you can see, because it's uneven, I've put it on a flat surface so it's got a reference point for the top. Once that's done, I'll take it off the sled and then do the underside. Okay, so that's done. Just a final check for the feet. And then time to mark the bowls out. And for you eagle-eyed out there, see what I'm doing wrong. I learned this mistake later on in the video. I do manage to rectify the mistake, but it's not the prettiest of ways. If this had been for a customer, I would have scrapped the slab and redone it. So just using the shape of origin again to do the initial outline of the bowls, and then I'll cut the remaining holes with my jigsaw. I've done it this way because the stock is quite thick and the bit of the shape of origin won't go all the way down. Okay, so after drilling the pilot hole to allow the blade of the jigsaw to go through, I begin cutting the holes out. I'll clean these holes up with my 1/2 inch white side flush trim bit, which is like the big brother to the one I used earlier. Okay, so if you haven't already guessed, I cut the holes too big. I'm using a bit of rubber tubing to buffer them. In a way, it kind of adds cushioning to the bowls, which is a good thing, but it's the hot glue that I have issue with. I just think it looks rather unsightly. I did pile it on because I didn't want the rubber tubing coming apart, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, moving on, I'm just finding the pilot holes for the feet to go before I epoxy them into place. Apologies for the dip in darkness of the video, my lighting had gone out at this point. I'm using Starbond's 5-minute epoxy. Since this stuff came out onto the market, I've been using it quite often. It's really good, it's really convenient, and it's very effective. I can't recommend it enough. I've worked with lots of different types of epoxy, and this is my top choice for a go-to quick setting epoxy. I hope you took a shot for every time I said epoxy. Okay, so now just using my Rotex 90 to bring out the live edge on the piece of wood. I do this because it's got a soft pad, and then I'll use my regular sander just to finish the job. So there you have it, guys. Here's the finished bowl. It's a couple of months since I built it and it's well used. What do you think? Do you think she likes it? Cookie, what do you say? I think that's a yes. Well guys, this brings us to the end of the video. If you've made it this far, I want to say a big thank you. It really means a lot to me and helps my channel out a great deal. Also, if you wouldn't mind, smash that like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this and tool reviews and all sorts of woodworking things in the upcoming future. Until then guys, take it easy and happy woodworking.